you guys to another episode of Full Plate of Pasta. I'm waiting for the day when I actually have an episode about food, but that will never come because I just had to ask Lexi what a sourdough starter was, and I still cannot answer that question. But I am really excited to talk to you guys about productivity today because I don't know about you, but the first couple weeks of January are really difficult for me. And there's two different reasons. I've broken it down into the two main reasons. One is the fact that it's so fucking dark at 4 p.m. at night. There is something so stressful about at 4 or 5 o'clock getting into your zone, and then it's also getting really dark at night and your brain is telling you it's 10 o'clock, but it's actually 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I really struggle with that. And the other thing is this weather. In St. Louis last week, it was so freaking cold. And I don't know about you guys, but one of the benefits of working from home is you don't have to leave your house. I did not physically leave my house for 7 days. And although that was great, it also just puts me in this state of hobo-ness. I don't know. Wait, what was the thing? I was talking to someone the other day. In Springfield, Missouri, we called homeless people boogans, right? Boogans, isn't that what it was called? I was a boogan for a week. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. Anyway, Lexi is watching this episode probably I don't know what you're saying. Anyway, I swear they were called boogans. I was talking to someone who went to Missouri State with me, and she's like, yeah, the boogans. Anyway, that's what we used to talk about, is that people who are homeless, we call them boogans. And I was kind of in this state of I was not productive. I did not get dressed every day. Oh my gosh, it was a crazy week. Anyway, now we're in the middle part of January, and I'm getting questions from clients about how to be productive, how do you schedule your week, what does that look like? And I felt like it was very appropriate to talk about this topic this week because I had kind of an epiphany in the last couple weeks, mostly because I had a lot of people coming to me that are brand new in business, that are working full-time jobs, saying how do I keep up with productivity? How do I maintain my schedule when I'm working a full-time job? And then also, I have been thinking a lot about marketing this year as we've been talking about the TikTok ban. It's so funny because in a week, or when this episode airs, the answer of the TikTok ban will be in effect. But as of right now, we have no idea what's happening. And TikTok, if you guys don't know, was literally how I made my first $1 million. In fact, my first almost $2 million. And I have realized that if TikTok is not around, my approach to visibility and getting in front of people and selling consistently is going to have to change. So I've been thinking about that, and it's been changing my marketing schedule. And then on top of that, I have new people who are how do you stay productive and how do you get all this shit done when I have 8,000 clients, when I have a full-time job? What does that look like? So I just wanted to have a discussion. This is not necessarily let me give you my tips and tricks, but I do just want to kind of talk about my thought process on productivity because it's actually very simple. Outside of A and B weeks, which I believe I've talked about on the podcast, but I want to go through that a little bit. My philosophy on productivity and maximizing your time has all to do with what works best for you and the way that you process and do things. And so in regards to marketing specifically, I want to talk about why I loved TikTok so much and why some of the new things that I'm going to be doing this year make so much sense for me in regards to maximizing my time. The reason that I, in business, was always okay, I need to get in front of people every day. I need to market my business. I need to be selling every day. You guys probably hear business coaches talk about this. And when I was thinking about that, I was so dialed in to TikTok because I don't feel like I had to put any effort in. I want you guys to think about Instagram right now, right? Even if you're not a business owner or you're trying to build some type of personal brand on Instagram, it applies to all of you. What do you have to do to get a post out? You have to get a really good photo or a really good video, right? You have to put text on the video. You have to put a cover photo on the reel. You have to do a carousel and you have to make 8 or 9 different, slides. The amount of time it takes to post a Instagram post could be 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes. Now, if you have the right repurposing strategy, I'll talk to you guys about that in probably another episode. You can do that kind of quickly, right? But it still takes to create a week's worth of content on Instagram, which is just 5 posts. It still takes me usually 45 minutes to maybe an hour. And then I'll pull a couple posts that I've already recreated, add them in. I'll have 7 posts in a week, and that basically took me an hour. I want to talk about TikTok. TikTok, I take my phone. I literally lay on this couch. I have a pimple patch on. My makeup's not done. I throw on a filter so it looks like I have makeup on. I genuinely do not. And I just rant. And I don't know about you bitches, but if you're listening to the podcast, you can probably tell I'm very good at talking. So the idea that I have to create 4 or 5 pieces of content in a day is like a 5-minute production. Well, if you think about it, if I'm at a full-time job or if I'm taking on 5 bajillion clients and I'm exhausted, 5 minutes to produce 4 or 5 videos that could be seen by hundreds of thousands of people, because TikTok is all about visibility, versus an hour to do Instagram posts that could be seen by about 200 to 500 people, because that's what Instagram's pushing out my content as, there's like a no-brainer. So I want to talk about this because for so many of you guys, you're choosing climbing a fucking mountain when instead you could just jump over a hill. Like literally, like that's my visualization of this topic. So many of you guys are climbing a fucking mountain to get content out when you could just jump over a hill. And for some of you guys, that hill is LinkedIn. Some of you guys, that hill is TikTok. Some of you guys are like, that hill is about to go away because TikTok might go away. I don't care what it is, but I want you guys to make content easy. And when I was working a full-time job, I actually did not use Instagram until I was done with that full-time job. I had like 4 or 5 posts that went out every month, but I did not use it because I just didn't have time to. So my business was TikTok, 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 send them to a sales call, nurture them on the sales call, and then convert them on the sales call. So I didn't worry about Instagram. I didn't send them over to DMs. I didn't sell on stories. I didn't do any of that because I frankly just did not have time. And any of you guys are there being told that you have to be on 4 or 5 platforms to be successful are genuinely crazy, because you can absolutely make $1 million this year off of one platform. I'm very adamant about that. I talk about this all the time. So don't make your life complicated by doing things that require structure. I talk about this every day on social media, structure versus momentum. If you don't have a lot of time, you need to only focus on things that build momentum. Volume in the beginning part of business is momentum. If you focus on momentum, which is volume, consistency, getting comfortable posting, getting comfortable being vulnerable, all the things that come with just literally taking your phone and recording, if you can do that, you're going to be miles ahead. And when people are like, well, Ashley, you make so much money from TikTok, how do you do it? Well, yeah, bitch, I posted 1,000 times this year. You posted 100. So I've literally did 10 times the amount of reps that you did. If a business or if a baseball player goes and does 100 at-bats versus 1,000 at-bats, yeah, they're probably going to have a significantly better batting average than you. So some of you guys just haven't put in the reps to see how to create success. And that is why TikTok literally was my game changer. Now, if TikTok goes away, assuming it does, I'm going to assume the worst because I like to prepare for the worst. That's how my personality works. If it goes away, I've had to basically now shift to how I'm going to be productive and focus on momentum in my business while also not necessarily changing a lot of exciting things in my business that could lead to sales. Like we're not launching new offers. We're not doing a lot of really exciting stuff this year. We're pretty much keeping everything the same, but looking to double or 1.5 times our business. What I've been doing for the last week, which has led to 6 or 7 clients converting that I've never talked to before into higher ticket offers being like a 3, 4, 5, 6K offering, or even a $25,000 offering. We signed a client like that a couple weeks ago. All I've been doing is I've been keeping up my cadence on Instagram. So I have a repurposed strategy that allows me to put out content pretty consistently, but I have been going live every single morning. And what's insane is what I've been doing is I've been hopping on live between 8:30 and 9 o'clock when I literally have no makeup on. My hair looks like a crazy lady, and I'm pretty much just in my t-shirt that I went to bed in or my Ralph Lauren pajamas, because I love Ralph Lauren, and I just hop on Instagram, I pull up my camera, and I put some type of post that's a little bit clickbaity, like how we had an 100K week, or this is exactly what you're missing in your content that lost you that client, whatever it is, right? And all I've been adding to the end is come with questions. And I don't know if that invitation was the trick or whatever, but all I've been doing is I've been hopping on live while I do my makeup and do my hair. How long does that take every morning? 15, 20 minutes? Well, if there's anything I can do very well, it is FaceTime and talk. So pretty much now what my audience is experiencing is almost as if a private sales call with me. They're coming with questions. They're asking me for feedback. They're asking me things. I'm curling my hair, holding it in my little wand, answering questions. I'm putting on eyeliner. Yes, my eyeliners looked like absolute ass for the last week because I cannot do that very well. But you know what? No one even notices, so it's fine. And I'm literally creating the same momentum that I did on TikTok of creating that connection, being vulnerable, connecting with new people. And I've been doing that. And now that live is going on my feed. it's something that people can go binge, and then it puts less pressure on me to sell in stories, because now what I'm doing is I'm saying, hey guys, this is what we've been talking about. Here's a live, watch it while you're getting ready this morning. People are watching it because it's like 15 minutes. And now they're getting a full-blown long-term experience with me, kind of a longer form content with me that is completely different than what they could have got on TikTok and then what I usually do on Instagram. And that, you guys, has been so freaking powerful. And now I'm doing it while I'm getting ready. It doesn't take me any additional time. I do it and I'm connecting with new people every single day. They're asking specific questions to them, so I'm not even guessing what I need to talk about. My audience is telling me what's top of mind, which means that the 3 or 4 things that I keep hearing, I'm now going and creating content on next week. And my business feels so fucking easy. So the reason that I wanted to start with this topic around productivity is make your life easy. I want to stop hearing, well, I can only record on Fridays because that's what day my hair is done. Okay, I literally have no makeup on. I do put a filter on, I'm not gonna lie. I have no makeup on. I curl my hair because I literally have 4 strands of hair, unfortunately. So I literally put my hair up like this, and I take individual strands and pin them, and I look like fucking George Washington on lives, even though I have a luxury brand, and it doesn't fucking matter. So here I am utilizing little pockets of my time to create massive amounts of sales for my business without necessarily having to do much more than what I was doing months and months ago with TikTok. And so that has been really good for me. The other thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be repurposing some of our content to LinkedIn and YouTube. So again, not necessarily doing a new platform, but between the podcast and Instagram, now we're trying to push out other pieces of content on other platforms. So we're going to be doing that, and it's going to be all repurposed content, which means it's not any additional time. It's just something I can give to Lexi to basically push out and do. So again, make your life easy. A lot of the times when you guys tell me you're too busy, it either comes from 2 things. One is you're doing things that work against your strengths. For me, I can just talk on a video. That's easy for me. So creating an Instagram post, I'd much rather talk and basically cut it up and put it in a reel or do a live than create like a carousel, right? Now I will say, if you have a carousel template and you just take your captions that are already pre-created with the 4 S's or the 5 S's of the sales process, if you incorporate that, that's very easy. But if you don't have that, think of things that you can do that are really easy. Your stories, if you create a story series and it's really good, save it and put it as a reel. Like, repurpose, make your life easier. Productivity is all about utilizing little pockets of time. So that's one thing that I just want to talk about. And if you guys have any questions about my repurpose strategy or anything, just send me a message on Instagram. I'm always happy to answer. But the other thing that I want to talk to you guys about is just making sure that everything you do with your clients is really advantageous, or anything that you do in your job, right? So habit stacking and creating pockets of time that's really optimized in a way that works for you, like, again, recording a video versus spending hours and hours on Canva. I can talk about that all damn day long. But another thing that I really want you guys to think about is your time with your clients maximized? So same thing when I started business, okay? So I'm going to go through my beginning of business journey. When I was working a full-time job, I did not have time to be like, hey, we can meet every single week. Because for me, meeting every single week would be fucking exhausting. And also, my clients might not need to meet. So why am I going to put calls on the calendar that might not even be advantageous? For me, when I did one-on-one coaching, I basically packaged up a certain amount of calls. So if someone said, hey, Ashley, I want to book one-on-one coaching with you for finance. By the way, this is 2 years ago. These are not my rates. Don't even try to ask me for $100 an hour. But I charged $100 an hour when I first started for one-on-one coaching. And instead of doing 3 months worth or whatever it was, or a month worth for a certain price point, I said, we're going to have 4 individual sessions focusing on X, Y, and Z, and we're going to book as we go. So then what would happen is I would take a client, we would have a one-time call, and at the end of that call, we'd book the next session. So if they were busy, or if I was busy, I'd be like, hey, I have 6 calls next week. Let's push you out a week and a half. And I basically paced myself by organizing it in real time versus setting it all out in advance and saying I have 4 sessions over the next 4 weeks. Not only was this better for the client, but also if they were pushing a session or not showing up, I wouldn't throw off my entire schedule because I had to double book them 1 week. So those are the types of things that I see a lot of the times. You guys keep putting weekly calls or bi-weekly, and it's does the client really need that? Or should you do book as you need them, where it's you can request up to 2 a month or whatever. Sometimes we put things in our calendars that are extra things for clients that don't make sense. Same with kickoff calls. Do kickoff calls need to be 3 or 4 hours long? Probably not. Do you need to have a call for every part of the process, or could you do a Loom video? Sometimes we add stuff in to our schedule to make us feel like we have checkpoints, when sometimes checkpoints don't necessarily need to be led by us. They can also be led by the client. So when you get this done, you message me and we book a call. So like we're adding some accountability. All of these things, you guys, I could talk about so long, but I just want to like pause right now because I've been literally ranting at you for 10 minutes, maybe even longer than that. And I want you guys to think about in your life right now, what are you doing that's working against you? Is it too many calls on the calendar? Is it the amount of time you're marketing? Is it in the mornings you're doing something that's really exhausting? I don't know if I've shared this very publicly, but as of recently, I have been watching a dog in my life. There might be a certain someone in my life that is very important to me who owns a dog, and therefore I am in charge of walking a dog, now usually 2 times a day. And one of the things that I really enjoy is like brain dumping in the morning. And so what I used to do is I used to go to my island and I'd like brain dump. And right now I have to walk this dog in the morning, good old dog. And what I've been doing is I've actually been brain dumping while I walk the dog. So what I do is I pull up my phone and I literally hit record and I literally talk through all the things that I want to do. And it actually will like script it for me. And then I kind of have a to-do list and a thought process. And I've been doing that while walking the dog. The other thing I've been doing is listening to podcasts. So if I want to get one podcast listened to a day, I basically pick a 20 or 30 minute episode and I do that while walking said dog. So those are some things that you can do to, again, have it stack and get some of those things that you need done effectively. So I just want to like share that. So I just want to like pulse check for everyone who's listening. I want you guys to think about 1 or 2 things in your life right now that don't feel easy. It can be something that you feel like you have to do. It can be something that you feel like you need to do. So you're just like putting it into your schedule, or it can be something that you're doing that doesn't necessarily need to be done the way that you need to, that you just need to alter or change. I just want you to like take a second. If you're in the car, many apologies, please don't stop my podcast because obviously that would be extremely rude. But if you are not driving, just go ahead and write it down. Like just like make a little note of like something you need to change. Add that into the calendar to alter or change or refine or get rid of this week. Congratulations, you had an action item from this week's podcast. So that's the first thing that I want to say. The second thing that I also want to tell you guys is you guys need to own your calendars better and stop letting everyone tell you that you should be available 24/7. One of the things that I'm really grateful I did in this past year is I switched my calendar from like pretty much open whenever to A and B weeks. And if you guys are not familiar with that process, basically I have an A week, which is actively working in the business, and a B week, which is like behind the scenes building the business. That's kind of how I look at it. And A week is weeks that clients can book calls with me. It's weeks that I have calls on the training on the calendar, all that good stuff. B weeks, I basically have nothing on the calendar. So those weeks, and yes, if you are a done for you client, you can do this. B weeks, I only have 2 calls every single week, which is our headquarters call and our DBM call. And those are on usually Tuesdays, and that's the only calls I have, which means if I went to go on vacation and I left on like a Thursday of an A week, I would basically be able to go all the next week to have 2 calls on the calendar, or I could move them and be like fully present that week without feeling like I have to move very much. So outside of those 2 calls, I have nothing on the calendar, which means A weeks, Monday is prep, Tuesday is client calls, Wednesday is usually like podcast and planning with Lexi, Thursdays is more client calls or trainings, and then Fridays are VIP days if people are coming in and doing like a in-person VIP day with me. B weeks, A days is planning. Tuesday or Monday. Monday is planning. Tuesday is usually calls with clients if I have any, or like podcast recordings. Wednesday is open. Thursday is open. Friday is open. And so it really has allowed me to prioritize watching trainings for mentors, going to master classes, working on trainings for my clients, like anything that I want to do on the business, which is why typically in an average month on A weeks, I'll work like 25 hours a week. On B weeks, I'll work like 5. So now over the course of the month, I'm literally averaging under 15 hours worked a week, or hours worked a week. And so I want you guys to look at your calendar, and I want you to organize the things that you're doing by category. So instead of like, I can have clients book calls whenever, only let clients book calls on Tuesdays and Thursdays or Wednesdays and Thursdays. If clients need it outside of that, pick a day. Typically for me, I don't do calls on Mondays or Fridays unless they're like urgent. So pick a day or two every single week that there are no client calls. Mark it off on your calendar. Don't let people book them. Keep it really easy, but also group similar activities. So if you're like, I want to get my marketing and planning and finance done, do those on Mondays. Like, do your behind the scene work together. Do your client facing work together. Organize things, because when your brain is constantly moving from one thing to the other, it's going to take 20 to 30 minutes for it to readjust, which means that if you have client calls for 2 hours, then personal stuff, then marketing, your brain is actually spending 30 minutes in between those tasks to readjust and focus on the new tasks, which means that if you're adjusting 3 or 4 times a day, you're literally wasting 2 to 3 hours at a time of your brain being non-productive. So if you can instead group the things that are together, your productivity is naturally going to go up. So those are some of the things that I want you guys to think about. And the reason I wanted to do this podcast specifically wasn't necessarily to be like, here's my tips for productivity, but more like, here's the things that I want you guys to audit in your own selves when it comes to productivity and maximizing your schedule. There are the same amount of days for every single one of you guys, but some of you guys make it look easy to navigate your weeks, and some of you guys feel like you're drowning every single day. Most of the time, that's going to be in intentionality of your schedule, and also, are you letting people run your life or run the show? And if you can get to the point where you actually run your schedule the way that you want, especially you business owners, you created your life and your business to be free, and now instead of being free, you're literally letting other people dictate your schedule. Isn't that what your fucking 9 to 5 did for you? Like, I don't know, just like a little reminder there. But if you can do that intentionality, you can run a very successful company on a couple hours a week. Done for you, folks. If you guys want to create certain days for done for you, so like Wednesdays and Thursdays is done for you time for clients, Friday is regroup or like catch up, Tuesday is client day, and Monday's client day. Organize your calendar to work for you, create habits and stack them together, and be fucking intentional. If you want to make $1 million this year and you do it by literally working 100 bajillion hours a week, you're going to hate your life. It's going to be fun to make the money, but you're not going to want to do it year 2. So just be like very, very mindful that you can own your calendar the way you want, but you also have to be able to set those boundaries, and you also have to be really intentional about it. So with that being said, I do want to like open this floor for discussion. We'll probably come back to some of the things around habits and productivity in the future, but I wanted to keep it like a little bit more reflection focused versus like tips and tricks focused, since we are in the beginning of January. If you guys have any follow-up questions, please just DM the full plate of pasta Instagram, and I want you guys to share any questions or thoughts or ideas that you have around this topic, and we will add it to a part 2 coming in the next couple weeks. But just to keep things light and simple, although I kind of feel like I just screamed at you for 20 minutes, so I do apologize, but to keep things light and airy, because it's fucking January. Thank you guys for getting us through the first 4 months of the podcast. I think we just hit our 25th or 26th episode, which is really exciting. We'll hit 100 episodes this year, I think, if I can do math. Kind of close. We'll get close to. We'll probably add in a couple extra and bonuses. If you guys are interested in coming in on being part of the podcast, please just DM our Instagram account. We would be happy to have you, kind of vet you out and see if you would be able to bring some value to the table. And be excited, we are doing some in-person around the US type podcast coming soon, as I will be doing some retreats and some fun things in 2025 that is coming soon. That was a little bit of a pre-announcement, but probably by the time that this episode is out, we'll have already announced that. So anyway, I will let you guys get back to your days. Thank you guys for spending some time with me, and see you guys next week.